Hey, this is Mark Rodriguez here watching Video Game Masters, and today we're going to continue on with these lost episodes, these lost reviews. They're originally on LBRY for the Gamer Cauldron, now being brought to you on YouTube as part of Video Game Masters. So today we're going to be checking out WWE Battlegrounds and the original Art of Fighting. Now, one thing I want to say about Battlegrounds is I'm very surprised that we didn't cover it already. Like, I could have sworn that we already had a BGM episode on it. I had to actually check the playlist. I'm like, wow, it's not here. Because some of the games, that, as I said before, we actually did the exact same review for both the Gamer Cauldron and Video Game Masters. You know, stuff like Street Fighter 6, Streets of Rage 4, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. It's the exact same review. It's like, why put them here? Just watch the original episode, you know? But with this one, I'm like, didn't we cover it already? And I don't know, I guess we just didn't. I don't know why. I don't know what was the mindset back then or whatever, but we're doing it now, so let's check it out now.
3, 2, 1.
WWE Battlegrounds is the latest WWE game released in 2020 for the PS4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and PC gaming. This time, rather than going for a more realistic approach, 2K Sports decided to go for a more arcade-style feel, with the superstars having overly exaggerated super moves and being able to use superpowers. The game's roster is a decent mix from the modern-day stars like Roman Reigns, The Fiend, and Becky Lynch, and legends like The Undertaker, The Rock, and Trish Stratus. If you notice, the characters have more or less of an action figure look and feel to them. Locked characters are still in their packages like the ones you would buy in a store, and they also burst out of crates and other packages during their entrances.
Weighing in at 309 pounds, The Undertaker!
There are several modes to play, both offline and online, and separate between the male and female superstars. You have, of course, the traditional one-on-one matches, the triple threat matches, the fatal four-way matches, as well as tag team matches. You can also have steel cage matches, either alone or tag team style, though it does work a little different here. Money appears either on the floor or hanging on the steel cage, and every time you grab some, an extra meter fills up. Once it's full all the way, you can finally climb out of the ring if you can keep your opponent down long enough. To make things crazier, the ring sometimes gets charged with electricity, zapping everyone who happens to be climbing it or near it at the time, so be careful. You also have a Royal Rumble match where a new wrestler comes in after some time, and as you would expect, things get really nuts when you have a bunch of wrestlers in there all at the same time. Like the real Royal Rumble, you throw the people out of the ring, and if you're the last man standing, you win. You also have a create a character mode, which everyone loves in these games, and an online battleground challenge mode where you can put your wrestling OC to the test. You also have the online tournament mode and the online King of the Battlegrounds mode. In the tournament mode, you have a chance to earn a lot of in-game currency with several matches defeating online opponents, and in the King of the Battlegrounds mode, it pretty much feels like you're just being randomly dropped into the middle of the Royal Rumble, where if you're not careful, you can get eliminated pretty easily by savvy online players.
The game's campaign mode deals with Paul Heyman wanting to start a new wrestling brand called WWE Battlegrounds, and he finds a rookie named Bodo Reynolds. Your job as Bodo is to work your way up from out of the indies until you finally make it big in the WWE. Along the way, you will find in tag teams and steel cage matches and other things. You can unlock new wrestlers like Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe, and also more power-ups for the main game.
Why didn't Paul Heyman just get Brock Lesnar?
Oh, Fish Hunter, get with the times. Now Paul Heyman is supporting Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns? They spent years trying to destroy him with Brock Lesnar. And now Paul is on his side?
That's wrestling logic for you.
Everyone in the game has several body slams and other types of wrestling moves, and they vary depending on your character's weight class. Sadly, most of the characters share the same moves, so if you're a heavyweight, for example, all of the heavyweights do the exact same choke slam and so forth. The game also has a reversal system where you have to press precise buttons at the right time to reverse a move and use it against your opponent. In terms of the game overall craziness, the characters can use special powers in the ring. They can cause a fiery explosion to blast everyone back, or you can use these powers to heal yourself. Weapons like steel chairs and crazy mallets are also hiding under the ring apron at your disposal. You also have insane variations of your finishers, where all the characters usually catch major air before slamming their opponents down.
Spikes him with a tombstone piledriver.
Alright guys, so my thoughts on WWE Battlegrounds, what can I say? It's kind of a mixed bag here and there. Like, I like the presentation with the characters being like action figures and boxes and whatever. I like the overall idea of it, of the characters with the fireballs, electric attacks, you know, crazy arcade style and stuff like that. But, I don't know, the presentation wasn't the best. I just don't like all the laziness and all the cut corners. You got all the characters doing similar poses in the versus screen or when they're in the boxes or whatever. And you got like all the characters doing the same 4 or 5 moves, depending if they're like a heavyweight character or a cruiserweight character or whatever. You got nonsense like Yokozuna doing a choke slam because he's a heavyweight character and all the heavyweight characters do choke slams, so that's fucking lazy. And look at this, look at this. They gave Ruby Riott the exact same intro pose as Bolo Reynolds. And Bolo Reynolds is a fucking made-up campaign character. You know, like, what the fuck is that? That's like beyond laziness. Like, they couldn't have given her, I don't know, whatever the fuck she does in her intro. I know it's not this pose. I know it's not this, but what the hell? And then the game also has a lot of bugs and stuff. Look at this shit. When you get like 4 or 5 people in the ring, sometimes the game just goes ape shit. Now, I understand and stuff like, I don't know, the older SNES wrestling games, you get too many characters in there, there's slowdown and stuff, but come on guys, that was a 16-bit era, okay? The PS4, even though I know a lot of people like have actually already bought the PS5 by now, the PS4 is still more or less, you know, current generation, you know, cutting edge modern gaming, and they can handle 4 or 5 wrestlers on the screen without the whole fucking game going ape shit. Look at this nonsense. And look at this bug right here. Look at this. Wow. Lisa Dorado's really been bulking up. I mean, he's so buff. He's so jacked. He looks like The Undertaker. Like, oh god. Such craziness, guys. Well, anyway, one thing I do want to give credit to this game is that they're actually giving you the new characters for free. That's right. In this modern era with all these DLCs and seasons passes and whatever else, you're actually getting all these superstars added to the game every couple of weeks or months. And that's pretty fucking awesome. So far, I got the Usos and I got Ruby Riott just in the game without me having to do anything. And while the Ultimate Warrior and Goldberg are also in the game now, but they're locked, you can still unlock them with in-game currency. So you're still not actually buying them. In fact, the only DLC I see here so far for this game is if you want to cheat and just buy the in-game currency in bulk. So it's kind of like the phone app games. You can choose where you want to grind or whether you want to like use your actual money. And in my case, I'd rather grind, baby. Now, other characters can only be unlocked in the campaign mode like Alexa Bliss and I believe John Cena. So it is pretty cool. So you can pretty much unlock the characters in the campaign mode or buy them in the superstar mode or also keep track of the store that updates every week with special deals on characters or character combinations or the costumes and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Now for me, I'm going to keep checking out the game because I want to get deeper into the campaign mode and I also want to keep track of what new superstars are coming your way. That's always pretty cool. But I don't know if I can recommend it for you guys to buy it though. I would kind of say try before you buy. If you can maybe use GameFly to rent it or something, or play at a friend's house or whatever. I don't know, just try before you buy, because I honestly can't recommend you're going to like the game. I don't know, it's kind of a hard one. Now this game, of course, is going to be more fun with offline friends or offline buddies, you know, but with the repetitive gameplay, I don't know how long my friends would actually play this game before they also get bored, because all the similar moves and stuff like that. And online, like, oh god, you'll get destroyed online with people that have mastered the game and the reversal moves and stuff by now. So again, that's all I can say, guys. Try before you buy. Just rent it or something first, but try before you buy.
Well, it was fun. One thing I like about wrestling is the fact of how the wrestlers change their names, their personas, their gimmicks and stuff, and you go from company to company and all the little changes throughout the years. Now this game was reviewed back then when the game like just came out, like within the second or so week that the game just came out, so of course things have changed. And there we got Samoa Joe, for example, is now in AEW. Ruby Riott is also in AEW, but she's called Ruby Soho, and just changes like that, so it's always kind of interesting. So anyways, guys, let's continue on with the original Art of Fighting.
Round 1. Fight.
Art of Fighting appeared in arcades and the original Neo Geo console in 1992. The basic story involves Ryo Sakazaki and Robert Garcia fighting their way through Southtown to rescue Ryo's sister, Yuri, from Mr. Big.
The game's story mode lets you choose between Ryo and Robert as they try to rescue Yuri. Each fight starts with some dialogue, and after you defeat the opponent, they'll tell you where you can find the next fight. Ryo and Robert fight in the Kyoku Genju style, so they use the same moves. Both of them use the Kouken Fireball and the Hien Shifu Kyak flying kicks. The main difference is that Ryo uses the Senretsu Ken, which is a series of rapid punches, and Robert uses the Jie Kyak, which uses a series of rapid kicks.
The game adds a spirit or ki energy bar alongside your life bar. You need ki to use your special attacks, and when you run out, your attacks either don't work or are very weak. You can hold down any button to charge your ki bar, or you can do a taunt to lower your opponent's ki bar. You also have 3 bonus stages that help build up Ryo and Robert as you play the game.
The bottle cut has you time the A button at just the right time to slice through all the bottles. If you pass this, you get a longer key bar. The Ice Smash has you mash the A button fast enough to build up the energy bar before time runs out. If you smash the ice blocks, you get a longer life bar.
Finally, you have to master the Hao Shokoken. If you can do these moves enough times before times run out, you can also use it in the game. This fireball is unblockable, and you can only use it when your key bar is completely full.
You fight against 8 different opponents. You start against Ryuhaku Toto, who uses these flaming pillar attacks. Then you go up against Jack, a biker gang member. After the first bonus stage, you fight against Li Pailong, who uses sharp claws and hides his face behind a monkey mask.
Afterwards, you face King, the bouncer of Lemoore. If you can defeat this deadly fighter in the final round with a super move, you find out that King was a woman all along. The next opponent is Mickey, who is a dangerous boxer. He will tell you where to find the next guy, John Crawley, a tough military fighter.
After this, you can finally face the leader of the gang, Mr. Big. Mr. Big uses a stick to fight, and is very tough to beat. But once you defeat him, it's not over yet, because now you have to face the Misterioso Mr. Karate. And if you think Mr. Big was hard, you haven't seen anything yet.
Oh god. Mr. Karate fights like Ryo and Robert, but his moves use up less of the ki meter. He can throw fireballs like they're going out of style. He can also do the Hao Shokoken whenever he wants, and remember, it's unblockable. SNK boss syndrome to the max. Once you defeat Mr. Karate, you find out who he really is. But that is a cliffhanger for another game.
It's Takuma!
Dude, come on, spoilers!
The game came out in 1992, Mark. You have Takuma all over the King of Fighters games too.
Fine, whatever. Well, anyways, there were several other versions of Art of Fighting released over the years for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, for example. In the arcade, when you play 2-player mode, you can select all the characters, but Ryo, Robert, and Mr. Karate had the advantage of having the Hao Shokoken, as well as the finisher when your life bar was red and the key bar was full. The SNES version actually gave made-up finishers to the other characters. Also, the SNES ending of Art of Fighting would already reveal that Mr. Karate was Takuma and that he was forced to work for Geese Howard from the Fatal Fury games after Yuri was kidnapped, something that wouldn't have been revealed in the arcades until Art of Fighting 2. The power of hindsight, I guess. One weird thing I also found out was that for some reason the version of Art of Fighting and the PS2 versions would censor out Ryo's Japanese voiceovers but leave Robert's English voiceovers during the cutscenes alone. Luckily, the version available for the PS Network kept everything true to the arcade, but why bother editing out a Japanese voiceover, you guys?
Alright guys, here are my thoughts on Art of Fighting. Personally, compared to Street Fighter 2, this game is similar because they're both fighting games, but they're very different at the same time. One of the major differences this game has is that it actually has like that whole zoom in and zoom out. The graphics are very huge, they're very well detailed. They have a very interesting set of characters. They have story mode that, explains what's happening as the time goes by, which is something that I don't think Street Fighter have ever done back then. back in the day. And their bonus stages are totally different. Just the whole setup of the game is a little bit different. The only thing that's kind of weird is that the gameplay mechanics takes a little while to get used to. I mean, especially when you do the jump kick and you knock people down, that's kind of weird. And I don't know. I wouldn't say it's like the most awesome, most whatever, best fighting game ever. But it also has its quirks, it has its uniqueness, and I think that's kind of like what makes Art of Fighting stands out on its own.
Whoa, let's see, this was really a long time ago. I remember now that back in those days, we didn't have many places to play arcades where I lived. Arcade places were in downtown, and to get there, we had to walk through the bad parts of town to play this one. Because hey, we won't let that stop us from playing Art of Fighting. I remember me and my cousin taking turns to take down the enemies, but I always let him take care of the bonus rounds, because he always got them perfect. This is an interesting old school game that set the path on games to come. It brings back very good memories.
So here are my thoughts on the original Art of Fighting, and what can I say? It is a classic, retro, old-fashioned game. It has very bizarre, kind of clunky gameplay mechanics. Like, I do give SNK credit for not copying the Street Fighter style in general, because, back then, Street Fighter 2 was the shit, and everybody was trying to rip off the style a little too closely, but SNK was kind of doing things their way, and yeah, the game is pretty different, but it has, like, weird mechanics. Like, sometimes the jump kicks might knock you down, sometimes they don't, sometimes a punch or a throw might make your character dizzy, which I feel is, like, just because, and stuff like that. And yeah, the game does have some deep nuances though. A couple of new features that this game introduced that will later come up in other fighting games, SNK games or otherwise. You would have stuff like forward and backward dashing, you would have taunts, you would have the ability to charge up your energy bar and certain moves that work best if the energy bar is full, so that's pretty cool. There's also little mechanics like the way Ryo and Robert can do the triangle jump off the wall, and like if you time a kick like just perfectly, you can actually like phase out Osho Koken without getting hit, and that takes like crazy timing. It's a hell of a fucking risk, because if you fuck up, you're literally dead, But, yeah, it's an interesting game. It's, I can't say it's the best or the worst. It's just there. But it's a classic that I enjoy. If you guys want to check it out, just to kind of see where some of these characters like Ryo, Robert, King, Mr. Big, and all them, where they came from, check out Art of Fighting. Oh, man. There's something about Art of Fighting that always brings me back. I just really love those old SNK games. There's just something about them, like the first Fatal Fury games, and Art of Fighting, and World Heroes. Even King of Fighters 94, because we got like 15 games down the series, you can still consider 94 a classic game from back in the day. And yeah, I just like that. So in other news, SNK has actually expressed interest in reviving the Art of Fighting franchise. The only thing that's kind of weird is that they said something like, we're not sure what kind of game it's going to be. And I'm kind of like, guys, just make it a fighting game. You know what I mean? Don't reinvent the wheel, just make it a fighting game. The only thing I want to say is that if you do choose to go kind of like an open world route where you kind of go all over Southtown and solve mysteries or whatever, you know how it's like those old action movies? Because Art of Fighting is kind of sort of like an old 70s type action movie, that kind of vibe, that you're going around town looking for clues, looking for who kidnapped Yuri, whatever. If you do it like that, like an open world game, call it something else, like the Art of Fighting story, Art of Fighting the Southtown Chronicles, Art of Fighting Gaiden, something like that. But like, if you're going to call it Art of Fighting 4, make it a fighting game. Just make it a fighting game. You know what I mean? Like, you got Streets of Rage 4, they didn't make it like an RPG or something. It was still a beat 'em up. You know what I mean? So, if by chance you want to call it Art of Fighting 4, please make it like a fighting game. And if it's something else, then call it Art of Fighting, insert subtitle here. So anyways, guys, we'll see what happens there. Of course, we'll keep you updated if anything else comes up with that, because they do want to revive, they want to make more Fatal Fury games. They're already working on Garou, City of Wolves. They want to do stuff with Samurai Showdown. They want to do stuff with Art of Fighting, and who knows what other properties SNK has under their belt. But, So anyways, guys, Mark Rodriguez here. We still got a few more episodes left to go of these mysterious, lost episodes. So stay tuned. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.
dandelion.
Wait a minute. How does Avarice know the fish hunter?
Yeah, everybody does it. When you go after the fish he does, it's obviously called hunting.
Yes, well, obviously it's hunting.
Yes, yes. More and more people begin to understand.